There's a phenomenon that's been going on for the last 15 months or so with the election of the upcoming presidential candidates, Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. I'm first going to address the masses at hand, the middle class and the underclass. I hate to even use that word underclass, but this society we are in is in a class system or a caste system, where you got the haves and the have-nots. And then you had the in-betweeners, the middle class, but that's slowly shrinking due to the government spending and the great inflation rates that we're facing today. I want to say this political arena that we deal with and that have been dealing with for the last 20 odd years has escalated into a fiasco. It's nothing but a dog and pony show. And for lack of a better analogy, I can tell you the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. I want you to pay close attention. The Democratic Party and the Republican Party are nothing more than two prostitutes working each side of the street on a city block. One tells you they're going to do one thing for you, the other one tells you they're going to do that for you. And by the time you get to the end of the block, the two prostitutes got all your money and the John in the middle is broke. That's what they do. They make a bunch of false, empty promises, and 4 years later, you're still in the same state of being. Now, this here message, first, I'm going to address the so-called African American or black people of America. Most of us don't know who we are, what our lineage is, and so we just adapt and identify ourselves with any new label certain groups of people want to put on us and put on our birth certificates. First, we were niggers, then Negroes, then colored, then African American, then black. Where does it end? There's no such thing as an African American. You're either from Africa or you were born in America. There's no such thing as a black race. Black is the color of this shirt. It's a color. It's not a race. It's not a geographic location on the map. Now, for the sake of time on this one video clip we're doing, I'm not going to go into the heritage and the legacy of the so-called African American here in the United States and give validation according to the scriptures in the Holy Bible. But what I am going to deal with is our state of mentality, that we're still in a slave state mentality, that we constantly believe somebody is going to get up there in the White House and take care of us. I think all of us who are black and at one time or another voted for your current president, Barack Obama. I heard some lady crying tears talking about he was the Messiah and she wasn't going to have to worry about a thing. Well, look where that got you with 2 terms. Huh? I don't hear you out there. Not one thing was done to address any issues to the so-called black or African American community of people in the United States. There were things taken up by the president concerning Muslims' rights to build mosques and worship where they wanted to freely. There were support and issues addressed on behalf of the LBGT. I don't even know I got that right. The lettuce, bacon, tomato, and egg sandwich community for their rights and same-sex marriages. There were immigrants' rights that he fought for and addressed and made by his bully pulpit known to the masses of society. But what has been done on our behalf? What was done in the administrations before Barack Obama? With the Bushes, with the other Clinton? Nothing except wage war on the black man. Nothing except make him obsolete in the workforce. Nothing was done to curtail the unemployment rates. Nothing was done to curtail the overinflated number of black men proportionately locked up in our jails and penitentiaries. Nothing was done to help funnel programs into the inner city to establish work programs that would progressively train people to accelerate in the workforce. You can't take a man who's over 21 and put him in McDonald's making $7.50 an hour and expect him to be able to support a wife and children. That's always been the case in the history. Yes, there are some of us who, by God's grace, slipped through the cracks. There are some of us, thank God, we came from two-parent households. Thank God for a strong father and a mother. All of us aren't equipped with that because the majority of our heritage wasn't equipped with that. Our ancestors were stripped of that. But I want to address this issue here. Donald Trump went and visited a couple of black or so-called black African-American churches this past weekend. Well, several weeks ago before this, he was invited by the NAACP. He was invited by the National Urban League. He was invited by the National Black Journalists of America's Association to speak and address them and hopefully answer some questions. For some reason or another, he turned it down. Then secretly one week, he met with 100 thirsty so-called pastors of men of God. And I heard them coming out giving accolades, and I commend Donald Trump for coming and talking to us. Those are nothing but a bunch of hirelings. How can you let someone come in your midst and make empty promises? Well, I'm going to make life better for you. What? I'm going to make your street safer where you can walk down the street and not get shot. That sounds real sweet and cuddly and everything. But you have not come up with any kind of strategic plan in place, which means you didn't give much thought to the situation or the issue. So I want to refer to some of you preachers out there that want to pin a medal on Donald Trump's chest. And while I'm at it, let me just put this in there. Hillary Clinton isn't much better. If you get time, go look up the policies she signed off on while her husband was in office. And even after he came out of office, most of her policies were anti-black. So, you preachers out there, yes, I would encourage you to have them come out to your church and address your people. But if you don't allow the people to voice their concerns and voice and demand some answers with some real credible strategies behind it, he's not doing anything but putting a dog and pony show and waving a carrot. And most times men like that in his position are able to line those preachers' hands with a little money. That's what they call filthy lucre. That's what they call hirelings. And matter of fact, I came up with another name to call these people. You know, in the Bible it called them, there were different groups and nations of people they called. Some of them were called the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Moabites, the Jebusites. I know some group of people now that's so thirsty to get recognized and be in Donald Trump's presence and take a picture. They're a bunch of Coon-ites. Coon-ites. You want me to spell that for you? C-O-O-N. And you put the "ite" on the back of it. This is really sorry. This is a sorry state we're in. Right now, the best strategy as a people is that we withdraw our votes and vote for someone independent with an independent platform, which will force these people who are in power, the Democrats and Republicans, to make a bona fide commitment to solving some of our issues and solving some of our problems. You got to hit them where it hurts. You have to hit them where the vote is, and you got to hit them in their pocketbooks. Stop supporting all these businesses that are not doing anything in your community. Stop supporting these politicians. I heard a mayor the other day said, we're going to raise the minimum wage in 3 years to $10 an hour. If you remember, the people at McDonald's were saying they need $15 an hour. And then I heard a mayor say, well, I'm going to push to get it to $10 an hour, but it'll take 2 or 3 years. And I sat there and laughed, and I said, the average person doesn't even listen to this. At the rate of inflation and its present rate of acceleration, if you don't move the minimum wage from $7.50 to $10 an hour till 3 years from now, that $10 an hour will still be like you making $7.50 an hour 3 years from now. We need to use some critical thinking. We need to start bringing our leadership together, those who are conscious, spiritually conscious, and mentally conscious, to come up and bring us physically conscious into action. There's some great teachers out here right now. One of them is a mighty man of renown named Dr. Claude Anderson. I give him kudos and a shout out. A lot of people want to shout him down, but he corrects everybody on the history of America. In the future, coming video clips and series that I'll be doing, I'll be dealing with the police and civilians of America problem. More specifically, the police and black and brown citizens of America, and why there is this phenomenon of an astronomical rate, black men being more likely to be killed 3 times than white men in a traffic stop by the police. There's a phenomenon behind it. And I'll just give you a little tidbit. It deals with implicit bias. I've been researching these things for some years. It's not explicit bias, but implicit bias. And it's being programmed and been programmed into certain groups of people for several hundred years on how they look and how they treat us. But that's another lesson in and of itself. I want to encourage you people in the remaining few months before this election. If these candidates come to your area or they're coming to your church, you need to hold your pastor or your leaders, community leaders' feet to the millstone. You need to set up town hall meetings, not a soapbox for someone to cry out loud with empty promises what they're going to do for you. You need to hold their feet to the fire and make them stand up there and address and listen to the people's concerns. Listen to the community's issues. Take heart. Show some real concern. I greet all of you all in the name of the Most High Son, Yeshua HaMashiach, that's Jesus the Messiah. And I will be encouraging you to look at our website for future events, www.ourfathershouses.org. Feel free to leave a comment. Feel free to ask a question. I look forward to shedding some light on those things for you in the future. Shalom.